As you've probably noticed, there's something different about this place. I'm in Shropshire, close to the England-Wales border, where we could be looking at the shape of things to come.
Now, I'm certainly not an anorak when it comes to global warming and carbon offsetting, because I know how boring the subject can be when you've been battered by it as often as we have. But what interests me is to what lengths individuals are prepared to go to protect the planet. After all, you can't just walk into a shop and buy a wind turbine or a ground source heat pump, can you? But you can grow a crop that's still banned in the USA because of its narcotic overtones, and with it build a house that doesn't need central heating. And you can drive around your organic farm in an electric car while admiring the wastewater treatment system. But we begin with Selina and a real landmark.
Welcome to an extraordinary development taking shape here in the fringes of Shropshire. People from all parts of the country have sold their homes to move here because they share the belief that unless we change the way we live, then the climate will get out of control, if it hasn't already. And besides, it's fun. This is the Wintles, a new development of 40 houses on the edge of Bishop's Castle in the Shropshire Hills. Bishop's Castle has long cultivated a reputation as a town frequented by musicians, artists and free thinkers. So perhaps it's not surprising to find that this is the location for some of the greenest homes in the country and some of the most unusual.
I did a sketch for a scheme which was very similar to this and went to the local planners, and their response was, you'll need an Act of Parliament to build something like that around here. But they were very encouraging and helpful in other ways, and that they said you should start small, look at what you can do within the existing community.
The deliberately higgledy-piggledy of pastel-coloured homes are all built of local materials, highly insulated and triple glazed with solar panels. But there's much more.
It becomes obvious that the little sunny spaces created by little corners are where people stand and have a chat. If that corner is on a northeast side, no one's going to stand there very long. They just put the rubbish bin in that side. So all of this is designed to create little nooks and crannies where people feel comfortable about chatting to each other.
So what sort of people buy homes like these? Here's a clue. Is it because at heart you are hippies? And that you have had this in your lives, and this is a dream come true for both of you?
I think it is. Well, certainly for me, it's a bit like that. Yeah, we've done some alternative things in our time. Like we've been hand weavers, and we have a yurt that we go on holiday with, and things like this. And we'd lived a fairly conventional life as an accountant and teacher, but always with a hankering for a bit of adventure, hadn't we? So when we saw this, it sort of really suits us. It just, felt like putting a really well-fitting glove on.
Oh, this is lovely and light, isn't it? I like this bit best of all. It's lying in bed looking at the stars through that light. Isn't it perfect?
And this is our bathroom.
Let's have a look. Oh, this is where you get all this free hot water. Is that right? Because it's attached to the solar.
Yes, that's right. The solar panels heat our water.
Julian and Chris spend a third less on power than they did in their own conventional home. It's something that attracts many of the Wintle residents.
Part of what you could call the eco-living is living on less, earning less, spending less.
Chris Robinson also works from home. When a few years ago Birmingham City Council presented him with his early retirement clock, he turned a lifelong hobby, mending clocks, into a new career.
We were rattling around in a big old empty house. The boys had left home, and we had a list of sort of things that we were hoping to find in a place. We thought we'd want a small town, a town with history, a town with music in it, and preferably somewhere a little bit eccentric, not too neat and tidy.
Where the clock has stopped. Chris is currently helping to repair it, It's a sign of how keen the new eco-residents are to fit in.
The clock's stopping.
Why this? You know, the clock has stopped.
And as I discovered, they've been warmly welcomed by a cabinet maker, Jeremy Bryce-Smith. Now don't confuse him with the man who makes coffins around here.
No, I don't make coffins. No, coffins are made by John Morris and his son Phil, who are locally known as John the Box and Phil the Hole. And they deal with the undertaking side, which was always traditionally part of a cabinet maker's job in a small village.
New ideas coming in, new people coming in. Has it changed your life? Has it impinged on you in any way?
It's brought me work, which has been a very positive thing. The opportunity to make nice furniture for nice houses. And I think that the people at the Wintles have entered into the spirit and indeed have come here for the same reasons that I came here nearly 20 years ago.
Which was for what?
For the peace and quiet, for the wonderful countryside. You can walk and cycle in every direction. You don't need to walk the same path twice. If you went every day of the year, you wouldn't have to double up on your tracks if you didn't want to.
Bob Moss left the hurly-burly of PR work to retire here and now spends a lot of time on the Wintles allotment, where the residents grow their own vegetables, further reducing their collective carbon footprint. Now, you're one of the few people who've come here, retired here. You changed your entire way of life. What was it that made you do it? What was it about this place that made you do it?
Well, approaching retirement, you have to make a decision as to where you're going to move. You can either sort of size down into a fairly boring suburban bungalow, or maybe if you're brave enough you can do something more exciting. We have a house which is probably a third larger than the cottage we used to live in, and my energy bill is probably half.
Now, there's something else extra special about this place that attracts all these eco people, and I think I've found it. Yes, this small town boasts not one, but 2 breweries and 6 pubs. And it was the beer that led Carol Davey to move into the Wintles after a chance recommendation from a friend who told her,
on your way back to London, you must stop off at this fabulous pub in Bishop's Castle that brews its own ale called the 3 Tons. So, sure enough, we did, and thought, this is really nice in the middle of countryside and everything. And came back again last May and fell in love with the project and thought, this is the place to be.
Carol paid just short of £450,000 for her home, and compared to London prices, thought she'd got a bargain.
Obviously, if it was in the southeast of England, there would have been a higher premium, and the prices obviously would be an awful lot higher.
But what's this eco-development doing for the local housing market?
It's taken up a lot of housing that could have been used by local people, and I think it's very expensive.
It seems to be a village on its own up at the top of the hill there. I mean, I don't know that they've blended in well.
The Wintles is an eco-development and it's beautiful, but it's unaffordable for the local people.
The man who dreamt up the whole scheme acknowledges that these eco-homes are expensive, but has plans to build much larger and affordable estates on the same green principles.
My hope is that we can supply people with houses that are affordable but also as nice to live in as these, and I hope also that we raise the standards for the rest of development in the country, but also fundamentally we'll be producing something which is much more environmentally friendly, much more energy efficient, much more convivial, it's an important element, than other people, and that's what at the end of the day which will make the biggest difference.